Turn on our microphone. Is this working? I apologize for the short notice, friends. I didn't really realize I was going to live stream until a few minutes ago. But I was working on this shot, and I just thought, we might as well hop on. So it has been a crazy day. It has been a crazy day. I posted on the Discord that between flattening out layers and liquefy and reuse of old scenes, I've gotten almost a minute of show done today, I think. I tell you, it's just been insane. I think we started out knocking this shot out yesterday, so all of this material is today, and a lot of it, like this, is just a reuse of an earlier shot, and this is just like modification of an earlier shot. And it just keeps going and going, and as I was going along, I'm having to draw and create new stuff, but basically I'm looking at the earlier scenes, and I'm just seeing a lot of opportunities to get some leverage here on the content. So we don't want to go overboard and repeat just for this. So that one was that shot was great. I mean, this is a shot that was literally nothing more than some liquefy, but it just nailed the attitude so nicely. I love that. That one, this is actually one shot, and then it's actually cut in two. And then the expression here on Golik's face, I think I did this after I was done live streaming. Hey, Maria. But he sort of has this, "Oh, my king, didn't I tell you to be leery of Asher's schemes? He'll lose his head for this," kind of thing. And of course that makes Golik happy, and so I gotta warn Asher. And then this it basically does a George Lucas wipe, like you see in Star Wars, which tells you that time has passed, and now he's back out in front of the crowd, and he's letting the people know that a terrible evil has inflicted our land, and that the prince's bride has been kidnapped. At which the group is like, "What?" And they're aghast. And now we're into this. This is shot 648. So while I'm sitting here yakking about reuse, I got to tell you, hey, Nagut 40, you're going to appreciate this shot, dude. You're going to like this one, because I've gotten almost a minute of show done today, and there has been a lot of reuse, but now it's time. It's like the Mel shot I did yesterday. It's time to back the heck up and do some acting. So in this shot, what happens is, as we saw a moment ago, Golik is speaking to the crowd. And so there's a lot that happens in this shot. Golik is assessing the crowd. So you can see, I just put these little goggles to indicate his eye direction. So he's looking at the crowd and kind of scanning the group like that, right? So obviously we have to draw his face. And then Vespigi steps up. And what it actually says in the script is Vespigi steps forward and taps Golik's shoulders. Golik steps back to let Vespigi take the floor, his countenance now a sneering smirk. Now, I don't need to mess with his countenance, but Vespigi says, "Such evil cannot stand. It's an inexcusable insult." And then Golik seizes the moment to point out to the crowd to say to each and every one of you, because he wants the people of Newsy to own this problem. And Vespigi's like, "Yes, yes." And then the crowd is crying out for vengeance. "We've got to bring back the rain. It's evil. There's a curse on our land." And then Golik is, "Fear not. The prince has sworn to bring the perpetrators to justice." And basically he sucks Vespar back out onto the stage, and in front of the entire community sort of traps Vespar into committing to catch whoever carried out this dastardly deed. Okay? That's where we're at. It's a lot of exciting stuff. And so I tell you, the hardest thing, and by the way, Ross, you can weigh in on this and tell me if you agree, but the hardest thing about this is when you can see and feel the acting in your mind, you know what you want to do, and you start putting in, you know, characterizations and acting and attitudes, and then you play it back and the whole thing happens, you know, something that really needs to take 30 seconds all zips by in like 4 seconds, and you're like, oh my God. Just working out the timing is really the trick, and this is a classic case of you really want to let it breathe. So Golik looks around, Vespigi resolves to go forward, puts his hand on Golik's shoulder. I wanted to have a little bit of a delay. That should be even longer, I think. So Golik actually responds to that touch. So to be clear, right here Golik is looking in this direction. So we'll just kind of make the little goggles to show that. Okay, so this is a part that I think is kind of interesting, and if you want some clarity on what's going on here, there's his crown, there's the hair that always kind of flows over his eyes. So we know that's Vespigi. And then okay, and his line, I gotta look at this. The line is, such evil cannot stand, it's an inexcusable insult. Okay. So this is going to be fun, and then what Golik does after that when he points to the crowd and says to each and every one of you is going to be fun too. But this is all about acting. This is really all about the acting. Okay, so let's start here, I suppose. Such evil cannot stand. It's an inexcusable. Okay, right there. Such evil cannot stand. It's an... Oh, nope. See, that's no good. Such evil cannot stand. Yep, this is way too early. This is what I'm talking about. This is way too early. Such evil cannot stand. Yep, it's still too soon. Dang, it's amazing. You just want to let your acting breathe. It's an inexcusable insult. Okay. So now let's scan this. And then when he says inexcusable insult, then Golik reacts to kind of look out and take the pulse of the crowd, essentially. So this is the center point of his face. He's basically doing a head turn, but then his head is going from sort of looking down or straight on at him to sort of looking up. So, and his eyes would be kind of cast down at the crowd like that. Okay, now this is going to be fun and interesting. What we're going to do, let's do this. One good thing in Krita is we can rechange our start time and stop time. So let's do it this way. Let's put the start time when Vespigi goes into motion. Okay, so does that... Okay, that's good. Such evil cannot stand. So actually, let's start it here. We don't need to go back that far. It's an unspeakable. No, I want to actually make it about there so we get... So I can say the dialogue. It's an unspeakable insult. Okay, I still feel like this is too soon. Boy, let it breathe, Dave. This is what I always used to tell actors on the set, man. Let it breathe. Let the performance take its time. It's an unspeakable insult. Okay, so basically this is wrong. I want him to go... Yep, let's change this. Okay, so he is not going to look up like that. Let's just redraw the darn thing. Okay, and we'll turn on the skins for this stuff because I want him to... Just gonna... I actually think I want him to look down, and I do want him to take his time getting around there. So I'm just putting in the indications here about his, you know, his goofy little hat that he wears. So there's the center line. So his little gogglage would be more like here now. And just center it. I'm just putting the goggles are just to show me roughly not even the position of Golek's eyes actually. Once I get into actually drawing the character, I'll get it all squared away, but what I'm trying to do is just remember the orientation so that I can read the acting when I play it back. So it's doing what I intended for it to do acting wise. I've been finding too, by the way, that using triangles, I've been using triangles a lot lately when I'm getting things blocked in and trying to get, it's a lot harder to retain symmetry and shape and form and characterization using organic forms. Let's put it that way. When you use sort of geometric forms, it is quite a lot easier, I think. Okay, I'm going to erase this so that it's not throwing me off kilter. Yeah, this shot is wrong. So, boom. And it didn't catch the E key. Like, that's a big surprise. Blast. Valerie is slowly eking her way through the living room. Slowly eking.
Oh, Zuko's enjoying the light.
Good. Yeah, Zuko seems to be enjoying his UV light now that he's gotten used to it and he's not like scared of it. He seems to like it. So that's a good thing. Okay, boom, 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 boom. This hat doesn't really look very different when it changes orientation. It's basically the little jewel on it is what you really see that makes it look like it's rotated. Okay. Okay, now the question is, should this be in here? And I'm not sure yet. I do think so, actually. I'll just try, just for fun, I'll just try a quick and dirty liquefy mod. But I don't expect that to work, and that's definitely not going to work. Undo that. Nope. Gotta redraw it. B key. Okay, and I think what I want to do is change his whole attitude. So this is one of those moments where I want to stop and really think about the acting here, because yes, he needs to step forward now. Okay, so let me check this. Okay, I think through here, I think what I'll do is let's just bring the hands down. It just seems like something Golek would do, so I'm going to say boom, boom. It's kind of out of deference to Vespigi, basically. Okay. So now let's just take a moment and just get rid of this stuff so it's not distracting me from what I'm trying to do going forward. Okay, and by the way, I kind of, I guess, apologize that probably this is somewhat difficult to see. I didn't really think about that until just now, but with the red pencil. Okay. All right. And it probably would be better to hide this from the audience. His arms are out. When that's what these close-ups are so good for. Really right here, what we should do is just actually take this, Shift, Control C, and then let's just go back and delete, 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 delete. Control Shift V. We'll just give the audience credit for being smart enough to understand that Golik's arms fell from his side to behind his back between shots. That's way less distracting. Having two things happen, bad policy in animation, okay? Bad policy in acting, actually. That's what I always, again, used to tell actors on the set is you want to think of your performance as essentially a one-dimensional sequence. Just a sequence of actions. All the actions need to be in there, but you want to have them happen one after the other in a sensible order, because any two things that happen at the same time, you're going to lose one of them. The audience will not notice it. It's not more sophisticated to have a lot of things going on at once. It's just bad storytelling, actually. And I say that with great conviction, friends. Okay. So I'm just doubling those lines just so it's not flashing too much. Okay, so he says it's an unspeakable insult. And okay. Okay, I am actually going to copy these and mirror them. And here, that one obviously does not need to be there since. Okay, so this, what we're going to do is A key, and I'm going to anchor it down here. So I'm actually spinning Golik in 3D space right now, in case you can't tell. Which, if you didn't know you could do that in Krita, well, you can. Okay, so now I'm going to jump to the other frame so that this can be made bigger. Okay, and the reason I did that is so I can now really, Krita, catch the freaking hotkeys, will you please? Okay. All right, and now we're going to kind of do the same thing. Let's get rid of that. And I just drew a line instead of a selection, so that was silly. Okay, I'm having him step forward, and now I'm actually going to do the same thing I just did, kind of in reverse. By the way, as you guys can see, you do have some latitude for kind of rotating characters in 3D space in Krita. And if you didn't know that, it is possible to do to a degree. Yep, there we go. Okay, so now what we'll do is let's erase his arms so they're not distracting me, so I can start to do something with his body weight. Okay, so he is going to hand I don't like having to do it this way, but it's probably the only way to do it. So I don't want to stop and erase everything from the one panel or the one cell in order to put the stuff in the next cell, because I'm feeling what I want the action to be. So I just want to go forward, you know. So there's a bit of a tug of war there. That could maybe show his cuff, I guess you'd say. So, and if I do the automatic insert of a frame, then I'm gonna have to draw everything. So that's probably one reason why having the characters each on their own layers probably would be good policy. Okay. So now we'll cheat it this way by all right, now watch this. I'm gonna take his whole body weight, and when he thrusts his hand this way, that way. Is that right? I don't know what you guys are seeing on the screen. Okay, I guess my camera's reversed. When his hand goes that way, his body weight needs to go that way. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. I'm actually reversed in my my webcam. I think I did that so that when I'm working, I can be looking down at the screen and it looks like I'm looking into the screen instead of out of it. Just one of those things, people. Can we do that circle smudge? Okay, can we do that circle smudge thing in OpenTunes? Russ, what do you mean by circle smudge thing? You lost me there. I don't know what I did. In OpenTunes, I mean, if you're like moving fast and you want to just animate the articulation of hands, for example, the way I'm doing it, you would do it the same way I do it in Krita. You just grab the S key, and then you don't even have to hit the freehand path tool. Because in OpenTunes, if you make a selection, it immediately goes into this mode right here where you can start moving things around. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, give me a little more information so I know what you're. Okay, I like the left hand. I don't like the right. So I am going to rethink this and actually smash through here and just erase. I don't like this. Darn it, come on, Krita. You guys can see, the reason I get impatient is because once I see it in my head, I hate it when the tools impede my creative process. I just want to go, you know? So I'm a little bit childish that way. Believe me, I know. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, again, only one thing at a time. For you. Oh yeah. And watch this. I'm gonna just try this. I don't know if this will work, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. Now, I mean, I can't really reverse it. I could if I put Vespigi in a different layer. So let's not do it that way. So we do want to have him come back to here. And then right here, we could probably use this and then work on his left arm. Bring his hand up. Okay, so I'm still looking for a clarification on what you were talking about, the circle smudge thing. I don't know what I did that was a smudge, so that's why I'm a little confused. Sorry about that. Okay. Yes, and now what I want to do is I want to do just the opposite of what I did before. I want to take him and have his body weight go like this. So I'm going to work from the large to the small. So I know I want the body weight to shift. So I'm going to get that first. Okay? And then I'm going to let's just deal with this hand because all I care about is the positioning of it. So A, and here we'll just delete it, redraw it because there's a certain way I want that to be here. I want this to be like that. I want the hand out like that. And now we need to just erase so that I'm not, again, being distracted by a face that's not really doing what I need it to do. So let's go here. And then I just want to make this turn. Okay, I just want to get this angle here. Okay. His goatee seems to be a good landmark. I know we're going to really have to do some work on this pencil test, but man, I just want to get the breakdowns in there just to get the storytelling to feel good, you know. So, like I said, I figured this would probably be your cup of tea. See you, Maria. In Karita, you move lines of the drawing like his chest around to make him look like he's breathing. Oh, you're talking about liquefy. No. You really don't have that. The closest you can come, I'll show you what's the closest you can come. So in Krita, you've got liquefy, which means you can just squash things around, okay? And then we have, you know, you can also do rotation or scaling, but basically the basic move-based or, you know, translation type of liquefy is by far the most useful for sure. The closest you can come in OpenTunes would be to, actually what I did here, come to think of it, let me just grab this and show you. A minute ago, I did a translation like this, where instead of just rotating it or scaling it or moving it, what I did was I hit Control, and that actually rotates it in 3D space. So you can see what that's doing. For some things, especially like on faces, that can be quite useful. You're going to only get maybe 15 to 20 degrees of rotation before it starts to fall apart, but at least it's there in your toolkit. In OpenTunes, what you can do is you can control click, and on these corners, they will now move independently. And frankly, Krita really doesn't have something like that, but by and large, you know, liquefy sort of kicks the snot out of that capability anyway. So the only thing you can do in Tahoma, let me grab a selection here just to make it fair. Hit Control C. Bear with me here for a half second. Okay, so the only thing you can do here would be to and the nice thing in Tahoma is when you grab a selection, you can immediately start fiddling with it, right? You don't have to actually hit another tool. But if you hit Control, as you can see, the corners move independently, and you also can shear it this way. So that means that, you know, everything I just did with Krita, like moving it in 3D space, you can emulate that. But if you want more squishiness like you get with liquefy, the best I've been able to come up with, and I would give the caveat that it's useful when you're just moving stuff around in a pencil test, so you want to, and it's going to be your guide, as opposed to trying to do this on final ink work where it's probably going to fall apart and just not look good. So, but at the pencil test stage where everything can be rough, this can be quite useful if you are careful about what you select. So if his cheeks were going to, let's just say, you know, he's got fat cheeks, and let's say he's going to, like Louis Armstrong, right? Okay, so if I grab just this line, to a degree, I can do it, right? So if you're careful about your selection, you can kind of get that squishy effect, okay? but it basically involves grabbing pieces of the character, and then sometimes what you'll find is you need to grab this corner and reline it up with whatever, because these might break apart when you move this, because especially if you move a whole edge like that, right? So if I wanted this to come out way out here, theoretically I could then grab this corner and stretch it back and kind of find the split the difference. But again, you're going to get so much degradation on your line quality that's not really an effective strategy for inking. But for for figuring out the animation articulation, definitely. So does that answer your question? The closest you come to liquefy in OpenTunes is to use the plastic tool, and then you're committing to a because it's doing essentially the same thing. It's turning your art into a mesh at a given resolution that you specify, and then you use the bones to. So if I was going to do it, I'll show you another thing in OpenTunes that you might want to play with, Ross, is that, let me save my work here, by the way. Okay, and I am going to, just to kind of keep this fair, I am going to pull up, let's pull up this one. Okay, so yeah, that's working. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, just for simplicity, is make a quick and dirty lasso around Golik. So this isn't perfect, but I'm going to cut him out. And where the heck did Dome go? Okay. So I'll show you a little different approach to the plastic tool that is a little non-intuitive probably. But the idea would be that when you think about a skeleton, normally, if you don't think outside the box, you're going to think in terms of a skeleton. So you're going to think about a spine and a neck and maybe a bone. And I've shown you guys how you can put some utility bones in there to protect some of it from deforming. But there's a completely different approach that you can employ, which is to create your mesh. And then when you build your skeleton, actually just put a bunch of nodes out like this. I've seen guys do it this way. It can be effective. Okay. And as far as what you can do with liquefy, if you want to emulate it here, you'd probably have to do something like this. And then you want to probably protect this area down here. Okay, so now what are you going to do with that? Well, when it comes time to animate, you're going to, and let me just put in a key here. Okay, so what you're going to do is probably keep distance and turn it off. And now watch very closely. Okay, now you see the problem. The problem is this stuff over here is moving. You don't want it to. You can always fix that though. Actually, retroactively, and all you have to do is just go over here and just put in a bunch of utility bones. That tells the plastic tool all this area in here is off limits unless I move one of these bones. Okay, so now you're into a lot of bones and stuff, so it's not as quick as liquefy, but it is animatable, right? So now, as you can see, I can do to a degree. I can do these sorts of deformations and get the billowing out of the cheeks that I showed a bit ago. If you find that your mesh is stretching too much, in other words, you're getting too much distortion in the rendered character, it's fuzzing out too much, then what you can do is go back here and redo the mesh and maybe up the resolution a bit. You will see the performance start to go downhill though, of course. Okay, but you can see that's got a better, a higher resolution of control, and it would not be a problem to put in some nodes that protect his eyes right now so they're not squishing around. But you can see that's pretty much what you want, right? If you're wanting to just be able to do the squishy thing. So if you're willing to take a little bit of time and not distort things too far, then a lot of the cool little things you'd like to do, you can do with the plastic tool quite well. So does that help? I thought that would help. you can argue whether this is better or worse than Liquify for the simple reason that this is, you know, fully keyframe animatable, which is pretty big selling point, frankly. I mean, I've used I've used the plastic tool a lot in Salt and Light. So anyway, but today is a day where we're focused on the craft of hand-drawn animation, aren't we? So for that reason, we shall carry forward and sally forth. For you and you. Oh yeah, that looks good. Okay, so he says, to each and every one of you. Okay, I think I'm going to change that line. So Vespigi says, it's an unspeakable insult to each and every one of you. I like that. Okay, so he says this cannot stand. It's unspeakable insult to each and every one of you. Okay, I'm going to take this one back. And like I said, it would probably have been smarter to have Golek just be in his own layer, but that's okay. We're just trying to do some straight ahead animation here, friends. And so the idea here is to have Golek move away while his hand stays kind of in place. And as you can see, as usual, Krita does not update the animation. Actually, it updates the animation cache everywhere except the frames I need to see. By some bizarre coincidence, they've managed to come up with an algorithm that always chooses the last thing that it does is the first thing you wanted it to do. I don't know. What are you going to do? Okay. Bap. Okay, right here. Cut in. Okay, so this is going to cut to a close-up. A lot of times I draw these. I guess a lot of times they're W's is what they are, that run right through the character. Makes it easier to get symmetry and accuracy. Trying to think of who that, like 1940s era artist was who did a lot of advertising work. People, you know, he had a way of doing anatomy that was used a lot of this type of thing, like curved contours that flow through the character. I just cannot remember the dude's name. Liquify is good for doing similar keyframes, and plastic's good for animating. Two different methods of getting a similar result. Yeah, pretty much. Yep, I would agree with you. And I'm going to save my work. His nose seems a little big here, so I'm going to shrink it down, and then unfortunately I also have to. Boom. Yep, see, that's a great example. If I would have drawn the line all the way across here, I would have been more accurate on my contour. So, Mr. Bony Cheeks. Mr. Bony Cheeks. Now let's just kind of clean this back out a little bit. So this is eerily similar to a shot I did not too long ago. So the gremlin of reuse is screeching at me a little bit right now. Particularly because I'm moving so fast that I am actually getting his characterization a little bit off kilter. Not horrible, but definitely not right. That needs to be probably a little more angular. And basically, I'm going to erase his eyes. I'm going to erase his eyes. I'm going to start erasing things until I actually see Golek again. This is kind of how I do it sometimes. Okay, basically now I can see Golek in the picture. Yes, you really want to let this wrinkle right here at the tip of, or the, I don't know what you call that actually anatomically, where the nostril hits the, kind of bumps into the cheek. This is, unfortunately, this is the most difficult drawing of Golek I've done in days. For some reason, I'm kind of losing him. So, erase again. I will not be defeated. That's probably better. He has a slightly Asian look to his eyes. Slightly, just a little bit. Don't ask me why. And I would say, okay, let me just, on the other screen, I want to look at some reference. Okay, number one, this is, okay, I really thought I hit the S key. Okay, number two, okay, now we're getting better. All right. So. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this frame. Forget it. I'd rather pause here and deal with Vespigi. So I am going to apply some brain power here and go Control X, Control V, and put Vespigi in a separate layer for now. And then the question becomes, yes, very good. That's what I wanted. So now we're here in pencil test. And let's just watch. Boom. Alright, get rid of that. Can't have a selection. Eraser doesn't work. If you have a selection, and you can't draw if the eraser's on. So actually, I think I'm going to have him. Yes. Okay. key. Okay. I'm going to have him thrust actually back out here when he says the word yes. All right, except one. Okay, I guess if that's what we have to do, we'll... Okay, apparently that's in the Gulick layer, so I don't care. Forget it. Boom. So this should probably drift. Let's just see how that feels. Yes. Not bad. I know it is slightly muted acting. And his characterization's a little off, so I'm gonna, okay, stop everything. Okay, no wonder. Here. So I turn that off, and Gulick goes to there, and then but Vespigi disappears there. Okay, it would be super useful to have both of these layers pinned to the timeline, wouldn't it? So that we can actually see what we're doing and get a sense of what the timing really is. Okay. Okay, that frame I really want to have come sooner. Okay, so that's there. G, E, hello, get rid of that line. E, I said. I hate it when I hit the E key and Krita doesn't catch it. It makes me want to scream. I get all crazy. I really do. Okay, so here Vespigi's in the shot. Here he's not. We turn this one on, and I see that we have a redundancy there. Okay, so here, I want to get that that's overlapping his eye. I want to basically get the basic depiction of Vespigi much more in the zone for this frame. Basically, when I change points of view from close up to wide or whatever, I want to have at least one drawing that is pretty accurate of the character, because it's going to be easy to get all the other frames, right? You can cut and paste it and maybe modify it a little bit or whatever, but you need at least one good drawing to get you there. So that feels pretty good. And what I did here was I had him, so this I don't mind in terms of me knowing what to do. I don't mind something like this where it's all simplified. Now what I do want to do here is experiment with rotating him a little bit. Okay, so I am going to do it with liquefy. And now we'll just bounce back and forth here. Come on. And Krita does not remember the setting of the tool. So when I resize it, in fact, does it even show? It does show the resizing over there. But it won't remember the setting until I change it here. It'll keep switching back and forth to the and actually here I could probably gosh, I could probably get away with something like this. Do this. I'm just going to flip that little segment. I've never tried this. The concept is not horrible, actually, but let me see if I can split the difference and sort of find the middle ground here. I'm, you know, for those who are watching me and getting frustrated because it's like you're trying way too hard to save the previous drawing and reuse it instead of just like redrawing the character. I know when I'm doing that. Okay, that is really, really, really stupid looking because of this. So let's just, I'm not even going to take the crown out actually. And I'm in erase mode. Okay, we're starting to have a little chaos here because of he's moving and then the other drawing kicks in, so he's in the wrong position again. It's a real crazy mess. So I am going to say I am actually going to mirror these frames. Krita, please. I can't hit shift and extend a selection. It won't work until it does. So I just did it 4 times and the 4th time it worked. Ah! Okay. Yikes. Yikes, I say. Okay. Okay, I'm done with this. I'm done with that. That whole idea of him changing his point of views. Only bringing about misery. And I don't, it's not like it added that much anyway. Okay. Let's go back to the beginning here. Way back to the beginning. And set start time. Let's just marry these 2 levels together because I want to keep things flat and simple for now. And let's just see what we have. So Golik looks each way. Vespigi steps up to him. Says this is an outrage or whatever it is he says. To each and every one of you. Yes. Okay. Let me look at my script. Yeah, well, in the script he just says, Vespigi says yes. Twice. Yes. Yeah, so the camera will be pushing in, and then basically what happens is it cuts to the crowd. The crowd shouting out, "Vengeance! We must bring back the rain. It's evil. There's a curse on our land." Okay, so I would say the acting part of this shot is done in terms of blocking it in, and now it's just a matter of tightening up some of the characterizations. And when a short meeting, huh? Nice. Okay, so step 1 is to have 1 good drawing of Golik. Just because we love to draw Golik, don't we? I'm going to turn the onion skins off. we're just going to take this opportunity right now to practice drawing Golic. Okay, that's wrong. Right there. Boom. Flag it. Okay, let's try that again. That's better. Okay, so we had that jutted cheekbone, just it was back too far. Okay. I'm not going to use the G key here. I'm only, if I have to erase, I'm just going to. See, the reason I use the G key all the time is I love the pencil brush. But if I hit E to erase, what I get is this. I mean, I'll have to sit there and erase for 20 minutes just to erase one simple thing. We don't really have a great way to, I mean, maybe I'll have to look into it. Maybe there's a way you can use a hotkey to toggle between two brushes, and then one of them is an eraser. I don't know about that. It seems like you'd be able to, but I know there's a script for called 10 brushes. So I guess you can. Yes, you can map them to Control Alt. Okay, and actually it looks like I already did it. Okay, now that's crazy. I already did it and forgot I did it. Okay. Now the problem with that is, okay, well, call me an idiot. I think I did that like 5 days ago or something. I've been covering a lot of ground, people. You just got to cut me some slack. I've been doing a lot of work, and I just can't keep track of all the things I do. That is funny, though. Yeah, we should be able to map several brushes to a hotkey. Well, yes, Dave, you do realize that you yourself did that just a few days ago. Oh. Yeah. That's embarrassing. Really? I really don't have Alzheimer's, or at least I don't think I do. That's funny. So anyway, yeah, if you want to know how to do that in Krita, there it is. Tools, scripts, 10 brushes. And it lets you just take any brushes that you like and assign them up here. I don't remember if you drag and drop them or if you, I think you probably grab the thing and then maybe double click it. Okay, I guess you click it and then, okay, I guess that's how you do it. So in my case, this is really not what I would want. I would probably want something more like that. But then it's Control Alt. Okay, activate. This is interesting. Activate the previous brush preset when pressing the shortcut for the second time. Okay, now that's interesting. So you can actually, okay, so you can actually have Control Alt 1 or Control Alt 2 in my case will actually just toggle between them. So that's useful. Nice. Nice, people. Okay, and is this the wrong brush? 1. Nope, that's the right brush. All right. So this is a fairly wide shot. So we just want to basically get Golic's costuming and general look dialed in. I'm only going to do it once. I'm not going to draw all the keyframes because there's no reason to. Once I get him drawn once, most of the changes in his physiology are basically just deviations away from the wrong one drawing. It's a sign of genius. Yeah. You know, I keep hearing let's say more aged people saying that being forgetful is a sign of genius. Why is it that only the forgetful think that being forgetful is a sign of genius? the theory is a little suspect, but I'll take it since I definitely can be pretty stupid of late. Okay, so in this case, for example, we could duplicate this key because honestly, is this not quite literally just a reversal of this? Other than it's angled differently? I mean, come on, right? Now the question becomes Control-Shift-V. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Undo, undo. The question is, can I really cheat here to find a middle ground? And see, to a degree you can. You really can. Right? The problem with that as a tween is that you really want one here as well. So you would actually do 4 of them. Well, 4 frames, but 2 keys. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So that lets me turn. So in other words, when I'm doing typical tweening, I want a small move followed by a large move, and then sometimes it just snaps to the final position, but sometimes there's also a lead-in move. So there would be a slight move away, and then a change, and then a slight move to a final position. So this is the case of that. But the tweens are all stacked together. So what you have is one pose. Okay, really, dude? So I've got one pose, slight change, snap to a new position, land. Did it work? I don't know. Let's find out. Yeah, other than the distending of his chin. I mean, I kind of fouled up his chin a bit. But basically, as far as a smooth tween goes, it's fine. And if this was actually 12 frame per second cartoon, this would look quite good. I mean, look at that. Come on. All done with Liquify. Just toggling between 3/4 views, you know. It's... I wouldn't, you know, be lauding the praises of such techniques if they really didn't look good, you know. But once everything's moving fast, you know. And besides, this first drawing's whacked anyway. His chin's actually not quite right. So now what we can do, we got some latitude because this is only on the screen for 1 frame, right? So we'll flatten that out. Maybe move his chin up a bit. This is the one that's gonna... It needs to be rounded out more, I suppose. And then it kind of lands, so his chin could actually jut a little more on this final drawing. As a matter of fact, yeah, so there's a... I can't tell if it's the second one or the third one where his chin is too long. But, I mean, the technique still stands. Yeah, it's this one. There may be those who disagree with me and don't think that looks okay, but the only thing I'm not liking about it is the little bit of a variance in his chin. So anyway, or is it self-deprivation, or is self-deprivation a sign of genius? I forgot. Yeah, the spirit of Edward G. Definitely. Okay, so now this is where I have to really be a little bit, okay, Krita has become completely unresponsive. So let's click away and re-wake it up. There we go. I mean, frankly, take a look at this, guys. Wake up, Vegas. Okay, now watch this. Do you think maybe, just maybe, I could probably steal this art from this drawing and use it in this one? Come on. So I'm not going to even waste my time. It's the acting I was concerned about. So I know I'm going to be cutting in Vespigi and then just patching some stuff over top of him. And frankly, I could do the same thing with Golik. So this, yep, we could take that same head, shrink it down, and then paste it onto a body. Hands are going to be easy. That's just the same head. This one might be a little trickier, but it is the one that I, as you can see here, I already drew him once. So the truth of the matter is that the pencil test is done. And I don't have to add any more details because all the stuff that's hard, like the Vespucci's face, well, the faces, the stuff that's hard, I already have either drawn at least once or I have the reference material I need. So then it's just a matter of moving stuff around and getting it into ink and paint, right? Self-deprecation. It's all good, buddy. It's all good. Have you created your follow-along demonstration YouTube video yet? I mean, if the truth be known, this scene that I'm working on right now would be a pretty good candidate for the plastic tool. I mean, this right here, let's find out. I want to actually find out about that. Bear with me here for a half second. I am going to jump into Tahoma and I want to see something. There's something I do fairly frequently with the plastic tool, or the liquefy, that I want to see if you can do with the plastic tool if you plan correctly. So ignore the background. The background doesn't matter in this shot. Okay, in fact, we can even make it better. We'll just go take the E key and we'll just delete the background. This was just cut through the clipboard. Okay, don't forget, being able to cut through the clipboard is a darn good reason to work with Krita and Tahoma together. Okay, X key, create a mesh. I don't really need the resolution to be that high, I don't think. And build the skeleton. So all I want to do is just a 3-node deal. And then I'll put a couple protectors on the top and a couple protectors on the bottom. I'm just curious if this will do what I think it's going to do. Ready? Not really, but only because of the distortion out south. So, okay, so now what would you do to make that work better? First of all, I would add nodes here and maybe here as well. And then here, I think I'm going to add some protectors there and here. What I'm trying to do is just distort his face. And then I think with that, I'm going to end this session. Look at that. Look at that. Ross, look at that. Okay, you'd want to protect his, in this case, the crown, obviously, because it's rigid. So, but let's try that. Let's go boom, 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 boom. Okay. So, you know, I'm always looking for stuff like this where you're talking about only getting 15 to 30 degrees of ability to move things. But I don't know, there's something there. You know, there's something there. It's not great, but it's not horrible. You want to remember to turn off keep distance, by the way. But yeah, I've seen this with Vespucci before on other shots, that it's really quite possible to get a fair amount of facial articulation out of the guy with the plastic tool. So, but you guys play around with it. See what you think. I think with that, I'm going to sign off. I'm ready for a break. It's probably, yeah, it's been over an hour. And I'm kind of not in the zone anymore because I've done so much today. I mean, I've done like over a minute of show. It's been a busy day. And so, love and peace, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope it's been fun. And I hope not drawing the final detailed versions of the characters on all this pencil test doesn't disappoint you too much. But I don't want to do that work if I know I don't need to. If I'm just cutting and pasting faces from another shot, why am I going to redraw them and all that? This was all about timing and acting. That's what this was all about. So, anybody, I guess we're good to go. So, yes, Absolutely. Yeah, it's very much like I relate the animation on this show, especially when I do more full animation type stuff, is a lot like Del Toro Quest. If you watch, go watch Del Toro Quest on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like a westernized anime that's very much on threes. So, all right, guys, I'm signing off. I will catch you later. You know there'll be more later.